Very mixed market today. Was more of a slow day without a lot of action. Let's jump over and take a look at some interesting charts. I am your host, The Cowboy. This is Elliot with Cafe. Let's get started. All right, so just a quick review of what happened. Pretty much everything was green along the whole equity spectrum in here. Not a big surprise, no big rallies, no big sell-offs. We've had, just pretty much a consolidation day here. The markets, I think, are waiting a little bit for the inflation data on Friday. Can use that as an excuse there, but truthfully, nothing really jumped up. I mean, we've had some rallies in the solar sector. I'll take a look here shortly, and natural gas really popped higher. But other than that, it wasn't a big day. So just more of a consolidation. VIX pushed higher slightly, not much there, but it's trying to kind of hold those support levels, and we're trying to kind of break back below this 25 zone so we can get into more of a relaxed market, so to speak. NASDAQ only about 40 basis points. Small caps maybe a little stronger today, which is, good to see, because if these guys starts to lead, that means that we can start to recover maybe a little bit faster. You can look, consumer discretionary was up today, just about 1%, and then real estate and energy were kind of down on the day. I mean, I have a problem with energy here. I think we're running into some extreme levels. I continue to talk about that, even in the pro videos we've done this morning and throughout the day in the updates and all there. I think there's energy. It's it's an interesting play to kind of start to look at it from the short side, but it's a big uptrend, so we don't want to just throw ourselves right there right away. So that we got to look for some signs. So a mixed day. Bonds. Bonds have sold off. You could see that the yields went higher quite a bit. I mean, 2.4% on the 30-year, 2.7% on the 10-year, 3.3%, 3.38% on, on the 10-year, and then 10s was a little bit lower. Dollar was just slightly up. And then shorter term yields up about 2.2% in here. You're looking at the 3-month treasuries in here. Commodities, very, very mixed. I mean, DBC is still pushing higher. I got a big, big itch to short this one as well, as I'm going to be getting more signals and looking at the fifth wave development right now. GLD pushed lower. No surprise there. This GLD is a mess. You're looking at copper that came back a little bit. I mean, had a good advance last week. Oil, this is USO, kind of down on the day. I mean, the futures were also a little bit lower. We opened higher last night in the futures, touched some interesting highs there, and I've been pulling back ever since. And then look at natural gas, up almost 10%. So this one was a big one in here. This one is flashing short signals as well. So and then cryptos. Bitcoin had a pretty good rally. I've done the Bitcoin Pro video this morning, and I went in detail about all of that stuff, kind of what we're positioned, the long trade that we have, and all the discussions there. But it's been a good performer today. We'll see if it's going to continue. It looks a little bit better, but there's still a lot that we need to see there. I'm not going to get into a lot of details. Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Binance Coin pushed lower, but a bunch of the alts. I'm tracking, we're tracking the program, about 38 alts in there, and 20 of them have pushed back above the 20-day moving average. So that's interesting to see. We might be getting slightly a recovery on the altcoins as well. I've done a long video on altcoins for our altcoin channel as well, about, 40 minutes yesterday, walking through some weekly videos and through some weekly charts and what I'm looking for in terms of turns and things like that. So that was interesting. So let's continue to jump to take a look at some charts. I wanted to quickly go back through this kind of daily charts on the SP 500. The high there was 41.77. I'm still continuing for this market to trend higher. Again, I'm looking for that 15 to 20% advance. We might be consolidating here a little bit in a fourth wave. I'll take a look at motive wave count. NDX just more stable. You can see in here not much happening. I think it could be a fourth and another fifth coming. We're still in a declining environment, below the 50, below the 200. Above 20 looks good, but not good enough. NASDAQ composite as well, just kind of stabilizing in here. A pretty sharp downtrending moving average, the 50-day, it's important. Dow Jones, we're off finding resistance back in there. I would not be surprised for this one to start to pull back because already a big chunk of this move has been made. So a little bit of a correction here would not be out of the ordinary. You can see the volume is starting to kind of drop in here. The Russell right at the 50, so a bit higher than that. We looked at this as a 3-wave advance. We want it to become a 5-wave advance, and it's still struggling. We're obviously back into a major resistance right there, right? That's a pretty obvious line. You got the 50, you got a horizontal resistance, you got a 3-wave pattern. So all of this is screaming possibly some correction, and then you're going to get a defense here at about 180. So we'll watch that. You know, I'm not super keen into opening any position into the Russell, right into this resistance and right into this moving average. So we got to wait for that. Bitcoin with a nice rally, 31,352. TLT. Actually, I've done a video on Bitcoin, guys, on Saturday, Bitcoin and Ethereum wave analysis, Elliott wave analysis that I do. I used to do it every 2 weeks. Now I'm going to do it every month. So take a look at that one. It's a pretty long, pretty detailed video about the price action there. You know, we might find some interesting stuff there, so check it out. It's the latest video I've done for YouTube. You can find it on my channel there. TLT sold off in here after, remember, we looked at this just as a 3-wave setback. So here we are selling lower. It's possible that we're going to attack these lows in here. That's the part that's going to get interesting, because then the yields will push higher, about 315, I think, right here, right? The high was 312, just to move into the 50 back here. And unless we're starting to lose momentum now, we're probably going to go above that 312. That could put pressure on the equities one more time. Dollar index just kind of stabilizing at the 50. We're looking to see if we're going to get a recovery. I remain a seller of the dollar after this impulse, pushing higher, and then look for another leg lower in the dollar. That should help risk assets. Here is gold in a big mess, being supported at the 200-day. Not really much to do with gold at the moment. And then oil market get pushed back in here. I'm going to take a look at the count, but to me, this does not look bullish. It's a super overlapping and choppy. As excited as people are about oil going to 200, this is a big mess. I don't know. I just, you know, I could get surprised, and maybe I will. Maybe this will shoot to 150 and, you know, throw away all my analysis here. But it's, you know, from my experience, from what I see when I see this type of patterns, this is probably an X or a B wave, and we're looking for a flush lower. So just be very, very careful on oil. EFA pushing higher here towards 50 and trying to establish itself above it, but we need to see a bit more. This is the markets outside US, so the developed markets without US and Canada. And then VIX below here at about 25. I want VIX to get back below these levels. You know, this is a big line. You can see it many times, right? We want it to get back below this and get into the lower volatility regime where, you know, it's a little bit easier to, you know, to buy and sell stocks without getting your head ripped off. So that's kind of where we are onto that. Let's take a look at, industries in here. Today we've had 10, so the Invesco Solar ETF up about 4.2%, still below its 200-day moving average. But what if, guys, think about this, what if, you know, people are going to start to sell oil now because you've had such a big run, and they're slowly shifting funds to solar. You can see solar, clean energy starting to rally a little bit in here. So that's interesting to watch. That's an interesting sign. So, you know, we might get, if I get back above the 20-day moving average, I might look at 10 to the upside in here, and we could be trending higher. So, I'm not there just yet, but something that I'm definitely watching. And then you have some logistics today, some, you know, REMX, strategic rare earth metals, stuff like that, clean energy metals and mining as well. And then on the last places here we had biotech that sold off, GDX, VNQ, semiconductors kind of flat. So a pretty decent market overall, but a very, very mixed market. Okay, quickly let's take a look at the counts. I'm going to come back at the oil. So the S&P 500 on the daily, ABC, and this is looking like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what I'm watching. You can see here on the 2-hour chart. I'm watching something like this, right? Let's just put a count on it. 1, 2, 3, maybe triangle 4 and up in 5. Let's see if we're going to be able to kind of get that. The RSI is dropping here. And let's see what the risk is. Well, first of all, I don't want the market to come back below this level, right? The moment that this happens, this becomes invalid. The other alternate is this fifth wave was a truncated fifth right in there, and we're getting a correction next. If this fourth wave finished off and you've got a truncated fifth right there, in the futures market, in the cash market, I think we went higher. Am I wrong or am I right? I got to check this out. Hold on a second. Let me go to my core list here and find that out really quickly. Yes, you see that market went a little bit higher right there. So that's where I have a little bit of an issue. So this one could tell you that maybe a fifth wave, it is complete right there, right? So let me go back to the futures. So if that's the case, then we might be looking for a push lower in 3 waves, right? That usually what happens is you're going to get an A up in B and then a move back down in C for the wave B. And it's something that we've been watching, right? Just kind of saying if this is the beginning of the move higher here in a larger correction, then you're going to get a wave A advance, you're going to get a B, and then you're going to get a C wave, something like that. I don't know how large this will be. So the question is this wave over or it's got a little bit of a push? Well, if it's got a little bit of a push, it's probably not going to be much. Just kind of squeeze back higher one more time and then sell off in a B, up in C to maybe give an X, or maybe this becomes a third higher, just like we've talked about. That 46.39, it is important. So back to a 2-hour chart. That's kind of what I'm what I'm thinking. I mean, is this a triangle? This is not really unless you go ABC for an A, B, C, D. I need to kind of do a smaller triangle in here and then one more push up higher. We're going to find out. If we break back above these levels, I think that's going to tell us a whole lot about kind of what's happening here next, and then we'll watch this impulse and kind of how it develops, like that, right? If it's going to be something that's going to move like that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if we get back above, then that's the strategy there. Now, if we're coming back, it's probably not going to be a fourth because it's going to be already too big. So we might have to consider that move down, like I've said, and then we're going to put some fibs and see, hey, 50% pull back, maybe 618 back towards 39.50 would be levels where I would start to kind of get interested in this market one more time for a push higher in that C wave. So for right now, we're kind of just waiting to see what happens. NASDAQ, it's on a similar story, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This wave here looks a little bit cleaner, so maybe an ABC lower for that B wave, right? If this is still part of a fourth wave, then we're going to get one more push before we correct. Maybe wave 4 still in progress. So when I'm faced with mess like this, I'm not really keen to do a whole lot, right? I just want to wait for the market to see what happens. I'm not a big proponent of trading fifth waves out of a fourth. I think because it could be a lot of things. I like better to kind of get back into this kind of larger third waves after I get the first impulse of a low. Then you're buying a second wave. Anyway, that's a longer discussion. But the idea here, it's again, that's an ABC followed by another, ABC. I mean, this could be still short. This whole thing could become, if he wants to, a combination, right? ABC for the W, then you get an X wave, and then you push higher here in a wave Y. Something like that, and this way you're, then this becomes a big X wave. So ABC for the W, up in X, and then back lower. Since this would be kind of short and not that proportionate, you know, to this decline. So that's kind of what we're watching. Now, really quickly, to just don't spend a lot of time, look at the oil market. I'm looking at the weekly time frames. So yeah, this looks like they're kind of getting tired. You know, we're getting a big RSI divergence as well. This move does not look impulsive. I have, you know, I have high doubts that this will continue to travel higher without first correcting. You know, obviously, you know, anything can happen, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it for right now. Either, for example, this, I'm wrong here, and this fourth wave moves over here, right? And then this entire move, so this becomes a fourth, this entire move is a fifth, and we're already done. Or we're still forming this fifth wave. I'm looking at the daily time frames, right? This is a triangle in an A, B, C, D, and E. After this 1, 2, 3 triangle fourth, and then we're starting to kind of go over in a leading diagonal here in the fifth wave. It could be truncated in here, maybe push one more high, and then we're probably going to get a big sell-off back towards 100. So that's what I'm watching onto the oil market in here, kind of how this unfolds. I'm looking through a series of zigzags, so that's what you're getting into. You know, an ending diagonal, right? You have like an ABC for a 1, then you pull lower in a zigzag, then you go ABC up for a third, another ABC decline in here, and then another wave 5. Maybe this is just an A, B, and then see, this could still kind of travel higher like that. You know, and you can still push a little bit, but what's going to happen, it's extremely rare for an ending diagonal to be truncated. Well, it doesn't have to, because we can make a new high. So let me just kind of correct that and go, you know, let's go back up there. But the problem with that would be that I think this fifth wave would be larger than that, you know, but I think that's a different problem to have. So we're gonna, you know, we're gonna watch that, right? Because this fifth wave will be bigger, and it has to be smaller than this third wave. All right, right now I'm going to go Alt 5 in here. You can see we have to stay below 126 for this count to kind of be correct, right? And to follow the rules and the guidelines. So this will be the initial advance. I mean, this has to be a 5-wave move if it's an ABC, and so far it looks like a 3. So we'll see. Maybe there's one more push higher coming. So let's see, like that, right? And then one more there, and then you start to sell off. So anyway, I think it's on my radar. I'm going to watch it here. It's very interesting. You know, once I start to get some confirmation here a little bit more, then I'm probably going to press the short side a little bit heavier in there as well. Similar story in the NatGas. It's probably not going to update here, but I have a massive divergence into the RSI, and I think we're getting, you know, kind of tired into this move. Every single high here gets smaller, and the angle of ascent is changing, right, from something steep like this, like this, like this. So we're probably going to crash lower in natural gas as well. You know, that's done. Pretty big move upwards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Maybe we're going to do a fourth next, and another fifth, but I think this one, it's not going to go that easy, right? It could drop. You know, you can get for the fourth wave in here, Alt 4. You know, I mean, 23% is back at 72, at 672, right? So you can get to 544, and this fourth wave would still be, you know, fairly okay. So that's kind of what I'm watching. The other thing that I wanted to show you really quickly is DBC in here, so the commodities as well. You know, very, very high, very extended in here. You can look at the weeklies. Look at this, right? Just a big trend upwards, and I think we're, you know, slowly running towards the end of this move. Like with anything, we're looking for price confirmation. So we need to see, you know, a strong move on the opposite direction. We got to see some of these previous levels get taken out. We got to see some pullback. So might take a while until this top gets formed, but I mean, if you look at the RSI into this high, you don't see it here, was up into 90. Right now the RSI is at about 70, and there is a big discrepancy right there. Okay, so DBC, it's also a pretty heavy into energy. It's got almost 65% energy, I think. And then it's got some commodities and some agriculture as well. But I think, if the inflation data on Friday comes weaker, watch out for these markets. All right, guys. Also, one thing before I go, I wanted to show you something in here. Don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter, The Pigeon and the Statue. My latest article here is Life is Full of Surprises. People liked it. You might get a kick out of it. I think it's some interesting information there. Go ahead and subscribe. It's at ElliotWaveSubstack.com. I'm going to try to put a link right here so you guys can, can see it. So thanks for watching. As always, I appreciate you being here. Leave a comment, press a like, and I'll see you later. Bye.